Hi, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Random Thoughts. Today I was just catching up on the incident from March 29th about Adam Toledo, who was a Mexican American boy living in Chicago. He was shot and killed by Officer Eric Stillman in the Little Village neighborhood on the west side. Initial police reports said that they were pursuing him. Came up to him. The officer told him to drop the gun, or he was shooting him, what have you. He turned around, had his left hand to drop his hands or drop the gun. He turned around, pointed the gun at the officer. The officer shoots him. Calls for medic, what have you. They go through all the little normal procedures. Come to find out, with the release of the video footage, he had no gun whatsoever. Hands were up. The boy turned around within, once again, a split second. It's crazy how they have a thing of you should obey the police, you should do what they tell you to do. Put your hands up, turn around, put your hands up, and you get shot because you thought they had a gun, even though there was nothing in his hand. And it's like, so did you want him to stop and slowly turn around, or? But he lied on the report. I think they even said he was like between 18 and 25 instead of a 13-year-old boy, a child. He just got out of the preteen stage, so he did not have a gun on him. He was shot. The cop lied about it. I think just put in a report and whatnot. You see it. Now that happened. When was it? January 29th. Jesse Smollett, former star of Empire, also was in the Mighty Ducks. He claimed that he was assaulted by two MAGA hat wearing men who dumped bleach on him and put a noose around his neck and this, that, and the other. And gonna find out it wasn't true. The city of Chicago, the government, the police department went after him hard for filing a fake police report. Said that he cost the city money for the investigation, and then was mad when I believe it was Kim Fox was it deferred payment. Not deferred payment. I'm sorry, that's something else. I'm sorry. That she basically set up a thing to where his initial payout was maybe like $10,000. He paid that. He didn't have to go to court. He didn't have to do all that because basically it would cost more money to go through court, and it was his first offense. And he pretty much had already, kind of his career is, as far as haven't seen or heard from him doing anything. But they went after him hard for filing a fake police report because they said it cost them money. And mind you, they were more concerned about this man lying than they were about their police officers taking people to buildings and interrogating them and beating them and having their own private black site, costing the city millions. No, I'm sorry. I think it was billions of dollars. So yeah, and I bring these two up because you have an officer of the law, a sworn officer of the law, who lied in a police shooting, saying that the suspect had a gun when, going by the body cam footage, he clearly did not have a weapon on him. And it's one of these things to where you hear people talk about Blue Lives Matter and have a question or have a confused look on their face, or just seem just perplexed as why black and brown communities don't trust the police. And it's because of stuff like this. Is when they do wrong, they're not punished for it. It's almost as if it's encouraged. So just, the cop just flat out lied. It's not like, okay, he's running, he said he had a gun in the mic. He said that he had a gun, and then it was something they could go back later and talk about. But no, he wrote after the fact. So he chased him down. He said, "Put your hands up." He turns around, puts his hands up. He shoots him within a second. He's checking him. He's asking him while he shot, where you hit it? Where you hit it? Well, where did you shoot him at? Where you hit it? Where you hit it? He's talking to him like he's not the one who shot him. He's asking him this. He's checking him. He doesn't find a gun. He can clearly see that, he did not have a gun. However, when he goes back to write the official report, he blatantly lies and says that there was a gun and says that it was in defense of self. Now, if there was nothing wrong with him shooting him, why would he lie about if it was okay for him just to say, I thought he had a gun, he didn't. No, he says that he had, not only that he had a weapon on him, but that he pointed it at him, thus justifying the shooting. But, I think they said there will be charges, but it's the thing of the fact that he felt so comfortable doing this. And this isn't the first time where we've seen, officers lie. But it goes into how, number one, into how the places that there are police, why we distrust them so much. They are constantly giving us reasons to not trust them. They're constantly giving us reasons to not believe them when they say something. When they come in and say, "Oh, if you tell me about, if there's something going on, you can tell me, we protect you." Well, how? Why should we think that you're going to protect us for providing information when even in regular situations you don't protect us? And I'm not saying that, if something happens, you shouldn't go to the police, but I'm saying when these are reasons why we don't come forward. Because we have no guarantee that these people will protect us any more than the people who we're providing information on. And then also the fact of, like I said, how hard they went after Jesse versus this officer. And other officers, he's not the first one. He is far from the first officer who has lied about, they had a gun. We've seen videos of police planting evidence. Yeah, I believe that's one of the reasons. Let's say OJ, racist cop, planting evidence. What have you lied about it? And I can't judge. I don't know anything about this officer. Like I said, I'm just now, looking up and getting things. I'm just learning the officer's name. I don't know whether or not race played a factor. I'm not going to say without a shadow of doubt, oh, he is definitely racist. But I will say that he had no qualms. He was more than ready to end this young boy's life and then lie about it. So I don't know if he's racist, but I do know from that he is not someone who should be a cop. Because once again, as always, equated the whole power and responsibility. Cops want the power to, they want to have this power, this authority to tell you, well, I'm going to arrest you simply for the fact that I told you to do something. It doesn't even have to be something crucial. Hey, I told you to do something. You didn't do it. Therefore, that's obstruction. Just the fact that my word is law and you didn't abide by it, so therefore you're getting arrested and charged for it. And that's just a charge. Obstruction of justice. Obstruction of me. Around here, my word is law. I am God, and you disobeyed God, so these are the consequences. If you want that type of power, that type of authority, then when something goes wrong, then you have to accept the responsibility that comes with that level of power. When you want that type of power to be able to say and do, and a license to shoot, do whatever you want to, it's like, okay, well, when we're out here, we have to be able to move and do this and that and whatever, okay? But when you're wrong, you have to take that responsibility. When you're wrong, you have to take the responsibility of, oh, you were in such a fight or flight, or not even flight, you're in such a fight. You're so ready to pull your gun when it's not needed. You are so ready to shoot. You're so focused on being a warrior cop that you ended somebody's life. This is not a... I was listening to something and the other day, and it was this story, and there's always the saying, it's better to ask for permission. Sorry, it's always better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. Well, sometimes you don't get to ask for forgiveness. Sometimes the person who you have wronged, you can't apologize to. It's not just, messed up, some property got damaged. You ended somebody's life. And then as I point out, you lied about it. You lied about it because you knew you were wrong. And it should be something. If they lie about this, there should be consequences, not just a suspension or something. I've heard some about, if they lie about it, they should be fired. I believe there are degrees to that, but yeah, you should not be able to just write whatever on an official police report and then just be like, oh yeah, whatever. It's like, no, that calls into, to me, it calls into question everything about this officer. Because it does a thing to where, if you would lie about that, what else? What little things are you willing to lie about? And a lot of times I do hate that in movies, to where somebody will say something and they're like, well, I can't trust you now. And with things like this, and sometimes I hate to say it, sometimes it is like that. Like, you lied about that, and how are we supposed to take you at your word for anything else? Why? And we keep talking about police reform. We keep talking about, you know, bad apples. But at at what point are we gonna say there it's too broken to be reformed? You know, like when you break a mug or you break something and you glue it together, or you try to piece it together the best you can. At a certain point, it's broken to a degree to where it's no longer you compromise the integrity of the structure to where you can no longer piece it together, no longer stands as strong as it once was, or once was able to, or hell, tape. If you are using something and you're taping something against a wall, if you keep moving it and adjusting it, you compromise the integrity of the glue to where it no longer has the strength to stand on what it's supposed to. And when it gets to that point, you just have to throw it away and do something else, because you can no longer use it for the purpose it was intended for. And a lot of people like to jump to, it's like, oh, we want to get rid of cops altogether. It's like, no. But it's clear that the way that we're doing things no longer works. Or, sorry, the way that we're doing things is no longer acceptable. Because, as many people point out, it's working the way it's intended to keep down poor and black and brown bodies, people, to police us, to control us, to rile us, to round us up, to keep us in our place. Because you see how they respond. They use more force in the riots or the protests over the George Floyd trial recently. They used more force against protesters in that than they did at the Capitol when they were actively hurting cops, when they killed a cop. And they were told beforehand, don't use as much force as you don't. They didn't even have as many people there. So you see how they respond differently to us. I saw another video. This cop was hanging on the side of a truck. The guy drove off with the cop. He hit the cops with a car. I want to say he assaulted one with a hammer. They brought him in. They have the ability to bring people in without shooting them. We've seen them do it. We know they're able to. We know they're able to use that restraint. And you wonder, is it because that they look at people differently? They look at, oh, that reminds me of my dad, that reminds me of my uncle, that reminds me of whoever. And I get that, okay, that reminds me of family members. But are we so detached as human beings in their eyes that they can't even say, hey, my nephew's that age? Or I remember when I was that age, I was, doing stupid things too. There's that, that level of the benefit of the doubt that always comes to us. We're always older than, they always look at us as being older than what we are, to being more ruthless than we are, to being just, we're much more of a danger. we're just vicious. We're just animals. We're just like, oh, their criminal mind is like, oh, I fear for my life. They have all these weapons and all this gear, all this stuff, and they don't have a damn bit of the training to go along with it to properly use it right. They don't have the tactics and everything that comes with trying to be, they act like they're in a war zone, but they're not doing enough training. As we see, the freaking instructor yells taser, taser, taser while she has her freaking Glock in her hand. I saw a video of this cop. He's getting himself together. He has his taser. It's his taser. Puts it in his, I say left because that's my non-dominant. Puts it in his non-dominant side. His sidearm, his service pistol, puts in his dominant. He taps both of them. He's like, he's like, we go through this. And I love and I wish more police officers would do this. Or feel like that they are able to do it. For him to say, if you can't tell the difference between the two of these, you don't deserve to be a cop. But we have them being more willing to protect each other in the face of doing wrong than have the courage to stand up and say, no, this was wrong. And I'm happy that we are seeing more of them trying to do this. But instead, you see them double down and once again, how can you expect to have the trust and support of the community when you're lying to our face, when you're telling us to our face that it's okay that we shot you, it's okay that we abuse you, it's okay that we're doing all these things, hey, Blue Lives Matter. How can you expect us to look at you with anything but contempt when you blatantly disrespect us to our face and then say, well, our job is hard? It's like, okay, yeah, you have a hard job. What things do you have in place to compensate for your hard job? Do you have counseling? Do you have therapy? Oh, you don't? Do you have any? Is it mandatory for cops to go to these? And maybe I could be wrong. I don't know everything. Because if their job is so hard, but they are not compensating for the stress and difficulty of the job, to me it just sounds like lip service. It's like when they talk about mental health. Oh, they did something because of mental health. There's a shooter who did this. It's not because he was racist and misogynistic or whatever. It's like, okay, mental health. You pass all these bills about building a wall and doing all this other stuff. What are you intending to do to pass legislation-wise to do things to help the mentally disabled? Nothing? Okay, support the troops. Hey, you guys are big on supporting the troops. How are we about with the backlog at the VA? Homeless vets? There's nothing. I don't see anything. Oh, so nothing. So it's not something you actually believe. It's just some shit that you say. Okay, I got you. So, yeah. You see the difference of when police lie, how often they lie, how comfortable they are with lying. And then you see civilian when they lie, oh, we got to bring him in. We have to do everything we can. They had a freaking mayor go after this dude, an actor. I'm not saying that it's okay to make false police reports. How many times they just recently passed this, the Karen law or the Karen Act somewhere? Because all these, white women constantly calling the cops on black people for doing non-criminal acts. And it's when are we going to finally be able to confidently say that we can hold police officers to the standard that they're supposed to be held, to the standard that they hold us? Because whenever something happens, it's always the civilian, hey, maybe you need to do this next time, maybe you need to do that next time, maybe this, that. We spend black and brown parents spend more time training and talking to their children about what to do and how to deal with police officers than they bother going through training and working on how to deal with the public. If this was any other job and they kept having deaths or they kept having these issues, things would change. But not police officers. So that was just something I wanted to get off my chest. Just sorry I kind of went off, but yeah, it just gets frustrating. But thank you for listening. Check out more videos on my YouTube channel, more of my Random Thought series. Also check out my my podcast, Bold Expressions with Carl. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever podcasts are found. I have a lot of other people doing commercials and listen to those other podcasts as well. Please like, share, subscribe. I said share. But yeah, thank you guys. Hope you have a great day. Whenever you listen to this, as always, don't be so busy proving your point that you forget your purpose.